Tourists across the UAE get a pleasant surprise as their visas get extended, and Dubai is pulling out all the stops for your safety this New Year's Eve. Details on that and much more on this Emirates News Update. Hi, I'm Faraz Javed, and here are the latest stories this hour. The UAE today announced 1,506 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number of cases in the country to more than 204,000. The Ministry of Health and Prevention also announced 1,475 new recoveries, bringing that total to over 181,000. Now, sadly, 2 new fatalities were also reported in the last 24-hour period, taking the UAE's coronavirus death toll up to 662. The UAE has extended the validity of tourist visas for an additional month without any government fees. The decision was made in light of temporary airport closures and entry restrictions around the world due to the new COVID-19 variant that was first reported in the UK. Now, officials say the decision will also help tourists and their families that are currently in the UAE to spend the New Year holidays without worrying about their entry permits. Government entities will work to facilitate procedures for tourists over the coming period and collaborate with relevant authorities to ensure the safety of all visitors during their stay in the country. Dubai is pulling out all the stops to make New Year's Eve in the city one of the best and safest in the world. Authorities are working round the clock to make sure that revelers are able to welcome 2021 in style and with state-of-the-art COVID-19 safety measures in place. Now, for instance, over 4,000 policemen and 2,000 security patrols will hit the streets on the night at 23 different locations across the city. There will be up to 200 security points set up all around Dubai. Additionally, there will be more than 2,000 special security personnel and 1,000 volunteers assigned for the overall security of the public. Then, on top of that, artificial intelligence will be used to monitor temperatures and other vitals of the revelers, who will be required to wear face masks and maintain physical distancing, among other safety protocols. Also, the Dubai Health Authority has set up 3 field hospitals with 49 doctors and nurses to attend to any emergencies. Dubai ambulance and civil defense teams have also set up similar stations across the emirate to respond within minutes, if not seconds. So now, the only thing we've been asked to do is to follow the safety guidelines and traffic rules set out for this Thursday and Friday. Okay, so brace yourself for this one. COVID-19 is actually a wake-up call. This remark was made by World Health Organization's Executive Director, Mike Ryan, at the last coronavirus media briefing for this year. He says that even though the pandemic has been very severe, it could be followed by even more lethal infections. In fact, Ryan believes this is not necessarily the big one. And that's because even though the COVID-19 virus is very transmissible and it kills people, but its current fatality rate is reasonably low in comparison to other emerging diseases.
And I will say one thing, and I may come as a shock to people. This pandemic has been very severe. It's spread around the world extremely quickly and has affected every corner of this planet. But this is not necessarily the big one. This virus is very transmissible, and it kills people, and it has deprived so many people of loved ones. But its current case fatality is reasonably low in comparison to other emerging diseases. This is a wake-up call. We are learning now how to do things better, how to do science better, how to do logistics better, how to do training better, how to do governance better, how to communicate better. We've developed a whole new science of infodemiology and advanced behavioral science in this way. So I think from our perspective, the planet is fragile. We live in an increasingly complex global society. These threats will continue. If there's one thing we need to take from this pandemic with all of the tragedy and loss, is that we need to get our act together. We need to get ready for something that may even be more severe in future. In this, we must honor those we've lost by getting better at what we do every day.
To international news, and India today extended its existing pandemic-induced restrictions by 1 more month, so that will be until the end of January 2021. Officials there say the extra time will allow authorities to expand surveillance, containment, and further precautions against the virus. Now, the ongoing restrictions, including a ban on scheduled international flights, was to expire on the 31st of December. But according to the current practice, India is allowing inbound and outbound travel to 23 countries under an air bubble agreement, which are temporary travel arrangements with certain countries that include the UAE, Bahrain, Oman, and Kuwait. The Philippines has approved a clinical trial for the COVID-19 vaccine of Johnson & Johnson's unit Janssen. The country's Food and Drug Administration made the announcement by also saying that the trials could begin in the next few weeks. Now, as per Johns Hopkins University data, the Philippines has recorded more than 470,000 cases of the virus. That's since the start of the pandemic, and over 9,000 people have died there due to the infection. American pharmaceutical company Novovax has begun a large late-stage study of its experimental COVID-19 vaccine in the U.S. That's after delaying the trials twice due to issues in scaling up the manufacturing process. The drug developer says it will enroll up to 30,000 volunteers across about 115 sites in the U.S. and Mexico, with two-thirds of them receiving the shot 21 days after. The rest get placebo. Novovax lags behind other drug makers in the global race for the COVID-19 vaccine, with shots from Pfizer and Moderna authorized for emergency use in the U.S. already. But experts have said more than one vaccine would be needed to end the pandemic that has so far killed more than 1.7 million people globally. Meanwhile, Novovax has signed supply agreements with several countries and is set to provide 60 million doses to the UK, where a late-stage study is underway as well. Now, the interim data from all these trials is expected in the first quarter of 2021. The overall number of global coronavirus cases is now well over 81.3 million, while the death toll has surged to more than 1,774,000. Those are the latest figures from Johns Hopkins University. The U.S. continues to have the highest number of cases with over 19.3 million infections. That's since the start of the pandemic. And the country also has the highest number of fatalities with nearly 335,000. The second worst affected country is India. Its total cases has crossed 10.2 million, while more than 148,000 people have died there due to the virus. Brazil is next with over 7.5 million cases, and it has recorded more than 191,000 deaths. Russia follows with over 3 million confirmed cases, while their death toll has surpassed 55,000. And France is the fifth worst affected country with well over 2.6 million cases and more than 63,000 fatalities. Okay, that's a wrap on this hour's top trending stories. But before I go, here's some good news for you all. The UAE has officially announced the 1st of Jan 2021 to be a paid holiday for all private sector employees across the country. So enjoy that one. In the meantime, Emirates News team will be back this evening at 7:30 with more updates, including business and sports. Stay safe. We'll see you then. Take care.